Well, while the UFO enthusiasts and the hobbyists wait with bated breath for the exciting announcement to be made by the Pentagon regarding UFOs in next month, first of the month, I reckon it's all going to be out in the open. They're going to be telling people they've got sheds full of aliens in jars, and they've been re-engineering, back engineering alien spacecraft for decades. Well, that's what they're all hoping anyway. I mean, personally, I think they're going to be seriously disappointed. And I'd have to, if I had the opportunity, I'd ask them why. You know, I'd ask Benjamin Jones why exactly he's so desperate for this alien visitation to be true. You know, I'd ask Lyndon Moulton Howe, same question. Why? They've all got champagne on ice for this announcement. You know, why do they so desperately want it to be true? I really can't imagine. Now, this is the Late Show. I'll leave a link to this below so you can watch the video. Dated 18th of May 2021. Okay, so only a few days ago, and we'll see what Mr. Obama has to say about this coming disclosure.
And I'm actually being serious here. Is that there's footage and records of objects in the skies that we don't know exactly what they are. We can't explain how they moved, their trajectory. They did not have an easily explainable pattern.
Or mode of operation, even.
And so, you know, I think that people still take seriously trying to investigate and figure out what that is.
It sounds like he doesn't. He said people still take seriously investigating that and trying to find out what it is.
But I have nothing to report to you today. Okay. Unless, like, that. See, here's the question. Reggie might secretly.
Yeah, okay, so now he's sort of deflecting a little bit and he's getting back into the comedy routine. But there's a bit on here that I wanted to show you. Hang on, where is that? Where do they first start talking to Obama? Here we go. I think this is it here. Okay, let's just try from here.
With the you know, what are the UAFs or whatever they call them, you know, all the footage and everyone talking about it's like
unidentified aerial phenomenon, UAF. Good job he's a good musician, eh?
What is your, like, I know that doesn't necessarily mean aliens, it is just a UAF, but I was wondering if you have a theory about that?
Well, when it comes to aliens, there's some things I just can't tell you on air.
But you'll tell us off air? Great.
Yeah, good one, James.
You know,
maybe not.
No, look. The truth is that when I came into office, I asked. Right, I was like, all right, you know, is there the lab somewhere where we're keeping the alien specimens in spaceship? You know, they did a little bit of research, and the answer was no.
Yeah, okay. Now, it's interesting that everybody laughs when he says, you know, he asked if there was, do we have any alien specimens in jars, you know, are we back engineering alien spacecraft? And they all fall about laughing. I think that's a really, you know, who in Obama's position would not ask that question? If I was the president, I would. You know, if I was Prime Minister of the UK, I'd be asking that question. You know, have we actually got any of this stuff? You know. So the answer is no. And what does that tell us? Well, it tells us that Roswell was not the crash of an alien spacecraft, doesn't it? Tells us it was a mogul balloon after all. They do not have any recovered alien spacecraft. So when Richard Dolan says things like, oh, I think there's good evidence for the, you know, at least 17 crash retrievals, he's talking out of his pimply posterior. There is zero evidence for any recovered ET material, and Obama's just told us that they haven't got any of this material. And they told us previously, as I was the bit that was actually further on from this, that you know, they see things that are that have operational parameters and performance envelopes beyond what they think we could make, or the Americans could make. But they don't know what they are. They have no evidence that these things are extraterrestrial. And I think I've said before or after or both in this video that Obama's only going by what he's been told. I mean, he'll be shown those videos and they'll be enthusiastic about what the people in the government that are enthusiastic about UFOs will be going, look at this, this could be an alien spacecraft, and this could be this, and this could be this. But there's no actual scientific evidence whatsoever for what any of it is. So until we get that evidence, we'll just have to sit down and say, well, there is no evidence. It's as simple as that. I mean, so many people might believe it, that it's ET and it's aliens, but and you hear these stories about, oh yeah, we were seeing these things every day, but we're not seeing very much footage of that, are we? What would it be in it for the aliens coming here every single day and flying up and down the coast, 200 miles off the coast? What would be in it for them? It doesn't seem like a very, I don't know, it doesn't seem like a good way to spend their time. Where's the investment there? What are they invested in? Just flying up and down the coast. And the other thing too is that you get these stories from these fighter pilots, and they say, "Oh yeah, it was performing these manoeuvres we couldn't match." We don't see any of that. All we see is a couple of objects that are easily tracked and easily locked on by the fighter aircraft airborne systems. So we don't see anything to back up their story. There's a thing roiling under the ocean apparently with this Nimitz thing. We don't see any video footage of that, do we? We don't see, once they'd locked on to the tic-tac and they're tracking it, they're not diving fast to intercept it. They're not diving at 26 degrees full throttle trying to intercept this object and get close to it and actually get close enough to it, like you would get planes in formation, flying along next to it, get some good pictures of it. We don't see any of that, do we? You've got to wonder why that is. Certainly the tic-tac is not performing any manoeuvres that the F-18 couldn't match. Otherwise it would not stay locked on in the targeting system. All right, so with that, we'll go to the next clip, and then we're going to take a look at, or I'm going to take a look at the the Go Fast UFO, and a look at Mick West's debunking video. Not much of it, but just enough to see what's what with regard to head-up display, and we'll have a look at Mick West's numbers, and we'll do some calculations, and we'll see what numbers we come up with. Is it high and slow, or is it low and fast? Strangely enough, I wasn't expecting to, but I got a completely different answer to Mick West. Now I don't know if my answer's right. I'm hoping there'll be a maths wizard or two out there that will point out what's wrong with it. But if there's nothing wrong with the solution that I came to, then it's certainly low. I haven't done the fast or slow bit yet, but it certainly looks low. So anyway, you'll see me doing these, and I don't do it very often, and I haven't done any of this sort of thing for 50 odd years, so a bit rusty. So I hope you'll forgive me if it's balderdash. But I'm actually, after the next clip, I'm going to get out the whiteboard and we're going to crunch some numbers and see what we get. Okay, well, we've heard what Mr. Obama had to say, and a lot of it is just repeated because of what he's heard, what he's been told, what the pilots have told him. So let's just have a quick look at Mick West's analysis of the tic-tac video, and see what we can find. Let's see if Mick West is right. Now, we have here up the top tells us, this is from Mick West's video, I'll leave a link to this below. Now we've got it's infrared mode, 44 degrees left is where the infrared pod is looking, and that's indicated by this little white dot here. It's not a fleet of alien spacecraft attacking. This is just to give the pilot an indication of where the pod is looking on his head-up display. So it's looking 44 degrees left of the aircraft. The range to the tic-tac, which is firmly fixed in the crosshairs here of the targeting system, is 4.4 nautical miles. Okay. We know that the aircraft is looking down at the object at an angle of 26 degrees. We know the height of the aircraft is 25,000 feet, and we might take a look at the speed, the length of the track, and see if we can work out if this thing was actually moving fast or standing virtually still. Okay, so a bit rusty at this sort of stuff, but a bit of trigonometry. We should be able to figure out the altitude of the tic-tac, because we know the aircraft is 25,000 feet off the surface. We know it's looking down at an angle of 26 degrees. That gives us two sides of a triangle. We know the length of the hypotenuse of the triangle, which is 4.4 nautical miles. And from that information, we should be able to just draw a horizontal line between the ocean and the aircraft to get the altitude. Once we've calculated the length of the side of that right angle triangle to the object, from the aircraft back to the aircraft. So we know it's 25,000 feet. We then, once we know the length of that side of that triangle, we deduct it from 25,000 feet, and that will give us the altitude of the tic-tac. Don't know why I keep looking at that. There it is there, firmly in the crosshairs. Not doing any crazy erratic manoeuvres that the aircraft can't match, as we've heard before. All right, so let's go to the whiteboard, and we'll use these numbers, 25,000 feet, 4.4 nautical miles, and the 26 degree angle to calculate the altitude of the tic-tac. Okay, well, to the whiteboard. First to admit, I'm pretty rusty at this stuff, so got two completely different answers here. I don't know if either of them are correct, but perhaps if there's a maths wizard out there could let us know which, if either, is correct and why, or if they're both wrong and why. I'm inclined to think Mick West has probably got it right, but we'll take a look. We'll take a look at what he's got to say. Okay, so first of all, you've got a triangle nicely drawn on his computer and poorly drawn on my whiteboard. Got a triangle like that. That is the altitude of the tic-tac. That's 25,000 feet. It's a right angle. This is 26 degrees. There's our F18. Now we know that the hypotenuse of this triangle is 4.4 nautical miles long. Okay. Sounding like Mr. Garrity there. Okay. Okay, so far, yeah, looks all right. Now, so what Mick West did was sin 26 degrees, which makes sense. So sin 26 equals 0.4383. We then multiply that by 4.4. And it equals 1.92 nautical miles. That's the distance between there and there, is 1.92 nautical miles. Now what we're going to do is convert that to feet. So times 6076.12 equals, pardon me, which equals 11,719 feet. So then we take that from 25,000 feet And we are left with a tic-tac altitude of 13,281 feet. So the tic-tac, the height of the tic-tac above the sea is 13,281 feet, which sort of corresponds, well, it does, it corresponds with what Mick West said. Mick West said this is not low and fast, it's high and slow, and the altitude is around 13,000 feet. And using these numbers, we get the same result as Mick West, perhaps unsurprisingly. There is another way of looking at this, and I can't really get my head around which one is likely to be closer to the truth. Got to bear in mind that the pilots say it's low and fast. Okay, so we're not looking for anything like 13,000 feet, but we can use the same numbers to get a much lower altitude for the tic-tac. If I can find the damp piece of my rag, there we go. Now bear in mind that on this channel I'm interested in truth. You know, I'm not going to hide information or not tell you about stuff just to support my narrative. You know, like the UFO hobbyists will. They'll hide information, they'll lie through their teeth, anything to support their narrative. Okay, so if this is low and fast, then I want to know if it's low and fast. So looking at it from a different perspective, okay, you've got there's your 25,000 feet, okay, with your F-18, flying along happily 25,000 feet. Draw a vertical line down to the sea below, okay, 0 feet. Now we draw our look down angle, which is 26 degrees. So that's 26 degrees. And there's a right angle there. Where's I going with this? Okay, that's 90 degrees. Okay, now all the angles in the triangle have to add up to 180. So we know this one must be 64 degrees, yep. There's the tic-tac. There's the tic-tac. So we know this is 4.4 nautical miles. So just make sure I got that right. That's 90. That's 116 and 64. 20, yeah, is 180. So now if we do the same thing, and we're still trying to find the opposite on the triangle, remember, but this time we're using 64 degrees. We're not using the 26 degrees, we're using the 64 degrees. It's looking down at 26 degrees, which means the angle here to the horizontal line that's in parallel with sea level, 64 degrees, okay? So we say sin 64 equals, so sin 64 equals 0.8987. Okay, so we then multiply that by 4.4, and that equals 3.95 nautical miles. So from there to there is now, remember this is our tic-tac altitude, is now 3.95 nautical miles. And if we convert that into feet, so multiplied by 6076.12 equals, so that equals 24,029 feet. A few other digits, but so if we say 25,000 minus 24,029, we get tic-tac altitude 971 feet. Okay, so that is far more like the altitude the pilots are describing, isn't it? So I'm using the same numbers. There's the F-18, it's at 25,000 feet. It's looking down at an angle of 26 degrees. The hypotenuse of the triangle is still 4.4 nautical miles. Angle of 64 degrees has to be, because the internal angles of a triangle always add up to 180. We know that's 90 degrees. That can only be 64 degrees. If we say sin 64 is 0.8987 multiplied by length of the hypotenuse gives us 3.95 nautical miles. Convert that to feet and we get 24,029 feet. We subtract 24,029 feet from 25,000 feet, we get 971 feet. Okay, so that is just a different way of looking at it with the same numbers. So anyone out there that's used to working with how do you tell the altitude of an aircraft from another aircraft would care to comment on this video, it'd be much appreciated. Has Mick West got it right? Have I got it right? Have neither of us got it right? Now, the other part of this is it moving fast or is it moving slow? Now, it's getting late, Sunday afternoon, I can't be bothered to be honest with you, but I'll take a look at that and just have a look at how fast the plane is flying, convert that to miles per hour, time it from beginning to end of video so we can see how many miles it's covered, look at the angles it's looking at, and see if I can figure out if the tic-tac is moving at all or at what sort of speed, what sort of rate of speed it's moving. I won't be doing that this weekend though. I've got a busy week, so it's unlikely to be during the week, but we'll see how we go with that one. As always, I hope you found that interesting. Thanks for watching. And, excuse me, I'm on my knees here. This is on the floor. I was going to say maybe I'll catch you again, but then again, maybe not.